What's up guys, how you all doing? Today's video will go over how I achieved the wool effect on Porco's scarf. It's a pretty straightforward process, but it gives a great result. Start off by mixing a very small amount of Vallejo Dark Sea Blue into some scale colour graphite. That gives you this nice subtle blue-grey colour. I'll paint this onto all the raised parts of the scarf. Because we used zenithal priming, all the highlights are already clearly defined, so it's just a case of blocking the colour in on those lighter parts of the scarf. Once you've blocked that in, we'll use some scale colour graphene grey for the shadows. You're going to want to just paint this onto all the dark areas, so here at the bottom edge of the scarf, and this little seam here where the fabric is overlapping. Don't worry about blending this out, we're essentially just sketching in where the shadows are, so you don't need to be all that bothered with creating any sort of a transition. For the first highlight, add a little white into your light grey mix and we'll apply this onto the raised parts of the scarf, just using stippling. So I'm adding lots of little dots over the surface. The dots will simulate that sort of fluffy texture you get on wool. Mix a little more white into your highlight and continue applying little dots. So each time you go back to the model with a lighter colour, you're going to try to cover a slightly smaller surface area, using the dots to build up the colour at the highest points of each little section of the scarf. Add some more white and we'll repeat the same process as before, and this time we'll switch to a slightly smaller brush. I'm using a 00, this lets me get more refined dots. So the process is still the same, but I'm trying to be more careful about where I place the dots. Leave some of the colour showing through from the previous steps, that's what helps to give you that textured effect. Mix in a little more white and we'll go back for some more dots. Still sticking with that small brush to get more control over the size of the dots that we're using. Be careful with your consistency here, you don't want the dots to go on too opaque. The paint should be thin enough that the dots fade slightly when they dry, but not so thin that you don't have control over where you place them. If the paint is too thick, you end up with a polka dot effect and the dots look more like a painted on design rather than surface texture. So you can see we're getting that wool effect coming through quite well now. Add a bit more white and this time we'll go back for some final highlights. So I'm adding lots of little dots over the surface. The dots will simulate that sort of fluffy texture you get on wool. For the last step, we'll make a thin glaze with Dark Sea Blue just by adding a drop of water. And with a small amount on the brush, we'll glaze down into the shadow areas of the scarf, just to help give us a bit more contrast and some more colour variation. We don't want to overdo this though, so just a couple thin glazes will be enough to push that contrast. Yeah, so I think that looks pretty cool now. Alright guys, so that is how you paint a pretty realistic wool effect. You can do this on smaller scale miniatures just by missing a few of the earlier highlight phases. It's quite fun to do, so I hope you give it a try. Just a couple more videos on this to go. Thanks for sticking around to watch the series. A big thanks to all my patrons for keeping the channel going. The channel's slowly creeping up on that 20k milestone, which is pretty cool, especially considering how long it took to get to 10k. I've still got my work cut out to catch up on this dude though.